globe. Great, right? So, well, that person actually turned out to just not have enough battery and their laptop died, not because of not being plugged in, right? But at that moment, I just realized that IT support, it's not only about fixing computers, but it's also about understanding people, understanding business, asking the right questions and solving problems in a calm and structured way, making them feel not, oh, I broke it, or oh, this is a mean, nasty IT person asking me 10,000 questions, but asking the right questions and feeling safe, secure, and actually trusted. Yeah. So let's start off with the principles and what I personally believe every IT professional should have, which well, I will call IT survival kit. So yeah, when we look today at the market, what is being requested from basic, let's say level 1 support, is a lot of things. It's networking, it's Windows, it's troubleshooting, it's Active Directory. Now with Azure also being a part of it, and it's a lot of cybersecurity as well. So what I will say is that what will separate an average technician from an excellent one, it will be understanding those principles, not only just using the tools, but understand why you use them, how you use them, which I will say ITIL in that case, which is IT infrastructure. I information technology infrastructure library will give you the overview and the insight of also the verbiage that is being used of what an incident is, what a problem is, what a request for change. So basic IT activities within a business and how to deliver the service properly. Next off, for sure, is networking. So it is like a circulatory system of IT, right? And if something goes wrong with any part of the networking, everything stops. So you don't have to be that much of a CCNA expert, but you need to understand what DNS servers do, what DHCP does, and DHCP is going to be your friend for sure. Why ping is not always the answer. It's always the first thing to go to, but it will not always be the answer. And of course, 80% of internet issues are actually not due to the internet. So once you understand the concept and the concept of networking, you will for sure become the person who will talk users through the complex problems in a simple language and be able to troubleshoot the basics of any network-related issues. So the troubleshooting, well, it's not magic. Like I said, it's like going to a doctor, and it's a little bit of a detective work. So the main aspect of troubleshooting, I would say, is remaining calm where everybody panics, and follow a method even when under pressure. It will allow you to be structured and go through the issue in a structured manner, also making your users feel secure. I will also add that users, as annoying and as much, annoying is the word they may seem, we need to understand that we're there to fix issues. If they had no issues, first of all, we would have no job. But second of all, we're there to help them to perform their task, their daily task. And the reason they're frustrated, it's not as much on a personal level. It's just simply because they cannot do the job. And we're there to help them to accomplish that whenever they encounter any issues. So if you want to really be a great support professional, I would say, and perform well under pressure, I would say always listen, never trust, but always listen. Try and reproduce the issue, check and test even when things seem obvious. So test assumptions, fix, and once you find a fix, always document. I always think the documentation part is crucial. I'm not only thinking about myself. Oh, I fixed the issue. There you go. But many times, often, too often, actually, if I go through incidents or well IT tickets, I will find I rebooted the machine. Great, which machine? So I always think in terms of living documentation, also for my other colleagues to be able to base themselves, they work upon and have some form of guidelines. You don't have to write books, but the essentials in a structured manner for them, for your colleagues to be able to go through whenever needed and whenever the pressure rises to remain calm and have some form of guidelines. So, like I mentioned, cybersecurity, it's a big part of our job today because, well, phishing, malwares, misconfigurations, and unsafe user behaviors are very well are very common. And so, knowing the basics of well multi-factor authentication, patching, safe access is not really optional. Well, passwords managers, using passwords managers instead of storing your password somewhere locally on an Excel file is crucial, and it's a part of our job every day. Also, educating our users, right? Because well, you don't have to deliver a whole IT training. Mostly, the users they don't need to know what you're doing behind the scenes to fix the issue, as long as you fix it. But in terms of cybersecurity, they need to know where they become a key vulnerability in a business, and where they play actually an essential role to prevent any attacks or threats within the organization. So, well, a very important part, like I was also mentioning, of our job is actually the soft skills, the human skills that no one will be able to train or teach you, but your own experience. And first off, I would say it's clear communication. So for sure, you need to be able to communicate uh, sometimes very complex technical issues or questions or yeah uh, topics to a business users where they don't need the technicality, they need clear communication. What's wrong? How do I fix it? And you can be the smartest person in the room, but if you're not able to communicate clearly, people will simply not trust you, and you're not going to be the go-to person whenever they have an issue, right? So like I was saying, IT support is all about trust and making your users trust you. Also, uh, you know, making them feel like you're the person they can go to for help, right? Whenever they have an issue, and sometimes you will not have a user explaining very clearly because they stressed, because they frustrated, because they panic, and not taking things seriously. That it's not the IT person's fault. Not taking it on a personal level, but try to work it with them. Remaining once again calm in the situation, explaining things simply, asking the right questions, and giving the users the status update. Yeah, so I'm doing this and that, so they don't feel left alone. I'm working on your issue. Of course, always keeping in mind the priority of the problem, because when you receive 10 tickets, 20 tickets all at the same time, you need to be able to establish the priority and the impact of whatever is reported to you. So, like I was also saying, the empathy is not really, it's not really a softness. Yeah, it's like your superpower. So in IT, it is a superpower. And well, it's making clear that you understand what is blocking the work of someone, and let's fix it. I'm going to fix it. And really, if you get that concept, I think it's a big part of the job, and your users being and remaining happy with whatever is at hand. So, well, of course, it's not only the empathy and the part that where you listen to an issue, but also your problem-solving skills that are essential in the job, but also curiosity. So I would say keep on always being curious, creative, not too creative, respect the guidelines, but when it comes to sometimes testing the issue, creativity is essential, and refusing to give up at any point of time. So also, like I was saying, having some form of guidelines, and for that's personally, I'm using the 5 whys. So who, what, when, where, and why. And the why is sometimes omitted, which will actually give you the, well, root cause analysis, understanding the problem, what was the problem, in order to prevent it, of course, the next time from happening. So last but not least, of course, certifications are important. I will say, hands-on experience is what will give you, what will give you the assurance and feeling confident and knowing how to do the job. The certifications will get you hired on the next job. let me put it like that. So I would start with, like I was saying, not everybody has to go through CCNA 1 and 2, although those are the basics of the networking. Of course, Microsoft 365 fundamentals, so the MS 900 exam, Azure, so that's AZ 900, so that's Azure fundamentals, and the 102 is endpoint administration, security as well, which is also a part of the CCNA 1 and 2 when you go through it. It's actually already given you a nice overview about the security, and of course, having the curiosity, intellectual curiosity, will always push you to learn more, to know more. And there's not such a thing as knowing too much in IT. You can never know too much, and you can never know it all. So that's always a path for you to improve and learn. So, well, I will say I will finish off with a little personal story again, where a couple of days ago, I actually was a user. I was recuperating a laptop at the client side, and well, was confronted with the IT support. And actually, well, always there's room for improvement. And in this case, saying this is not my job, that is not my job, will not get you places. So try and be, also proactive. Like I was saying, asking the right questions, but also not saying, "Oh, this is not my job." And I was confronted in that on that in a situation where simply my VPN, so Global Protect in that case, wasn't working, and I knew for sure that it was just the type of the connection I was on, and I was possibly supposed to be switching connections, which is a part of a first line support, let's say, job. And in that case, I was sent to, well, of course, make a ticket. I was sent to the second level support and wasted, well, pretty much half a day. And I'm going to have to go back and waste another half a day just because the first person wouldn't give me the guideline on how to switch connectivity, share connectivity with my colleague, get everything to work, and finish configuring my laptop. So things that can be simple can be also made complicated just because the person that you have on the other side is not proactive enough, or just will say, okay, but this is not a part of my job. So this is what not to do in IT. Yeah. But as for the to-dos, learn the foundations, understand your business, understand your users, so build your communication skills, become a calm voice whenever a crisis arises, and you will get exposure. Well, be proactive and always try to learn, and that will give you for sure a path into security, cloud, networking, or identity governance. So yeah, that's just to not to stay too long. I will say IT support is not the end of the road. It is the road, and it's the foundation for anything that will come next. I always take my current position like the preparation for my next one. And it's always kind of been the case. So in a way, I could land a position where I'm application support, but within a week, I ended up leading a whole modern workplace migration. Yeah. And even though I wouldn't know anything about Intune, which I did know everything about after a week, a week time, leading teams, just because of how you approach the position and what you're willing to give and learn as an IT professional, but also as a person. So thank you very much for having me. If you have any questions, I think those can be addressed at the end of the webinar. And I will give now the time to the next speaker.
All right, thank you so much for that session. Concerning the last point you made, about experiences in shifting responsibilities, um, I myself, recently I was part of a team that migrated the core banking platform for a bank to another core banking platform. So you know how large the operation might be. We're trying to make sure data is correctly transferred and all that. So at some point in time, I kept experiencing, okay, this is not my job. This is my job. This is not my job. So in areas like that, at times like that, you get to experience growth. And aside from that, I took away a couple of things from that. Just joining us, she talked about the IT support survival kits, that really stuck with me. She mentioned a couple of things, networking, troubleshooting, um, curiosity and creativity in your career. She talked about, carrying people along. And these are things that you wouldn't hear everywhere. For me, curiosity is a very important it's a very important lifesaver if you are an IT support person. Curiosity keeps you going because when you want to keep on, learning more, knowing more things, it keeps the fire burning. So thank you so much for that session, Kat. And also, if you have questions, um, sending me direct messages, please go on the chat box and drop the questions. They will vet them and then we'll have the questions sent to our speakers. So for the next session, we'll be having um, Emmanuel. I'm still having issues pronouncing the other name, but I'm sure it's going to do that himself. So Emmanuel is a seasoned cybersecurity professional with over 15 years in driving digital transformation, cloud adoption, and infrastructure modernization across Africa and international development sectors. He is highly qualified, Microsoft certified. He has led enterprise skill development and deployment, rather, of Microsoft Azure, M365, Cisco, Meraki networks for organizations, and the UN Migration Agency. He's currently serving as Senior IT Assistant Team Lead with IUM Nigeria. He leads cloud and security initiatives that enhance system resilience, compliance, and service delivery across multiple sites. He holds a master's in cybersecurity from EC Council, US, and is positioning himself for leadership roles in Microsoft Cloud and ETS, or Enterprise Technology Strategy. So, like I said earlier, we assembled the Avengers for this session. And then over to you, Mom, please take it away.
Okay, thank you, Toju. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. All right. Fantastic work, Kat. I really enjoyed your session. So I'll just go straight. If you could bring up the slide, Toju. So I wouldn't want to go around the time and just go straight to what this session is about, climbing the career from beginner to high income roles. So I will just give a little brief of how my own story panned out, and then what exactly you would definitely need to actually navigate that. One thing that we need to understand that as all professionals, there's always a starting point, and the first thing you need to get and accept is the mindset. Now, for my own case, I started first of all as what you call more like a consultant. it shouldn't have been a beginner, but you expect that being a beginner, you'll be learning like a junior support or something like that. But what gave me to start the consultant role in terms of working with remuneration was because prior to that, as way back as 2002, I'd had this vision or kind of knack for learning how things work from being a science oriented path in high school, or what we all call secondary school in Nigeria. And then, of course, foraying into TCP/IP as far back as 2002, then prior to even getting into college. So the important thing then was to understand and learn foundations. One of the foundation concepts, like Kat mentioned, has to do with you learning TCP/IP, which is regardless of whatever your track is as a tech professional, whether you're coming in software or coming in networking or coming in cybersecurity, everything has to communicate. And the foundation of anything communicating is TCP/IP, which is the transmission control protocol or internet protocol. And of course, having gotten that to actually be interested in learning that part, like I said, the basic path of every beginner tech professional is your mindset. And I will just state out in respect to 4 basic things, and they are not so far from what Katz has said, as we all are tech professionals, because they have been what has guided my trajectory so far from starting as an early level experience, early level consultant. You know, being a consultant, it's different from you starting to work and learn the ropes and be an understudy to someone else who has actually gotten that experience. The consultant is, you're more like the guy who should know what it takes to actually run it. And how did I do that? You could start with different ways, like I'm going to point out. My first job as a consultant came because prior to that, after my college degree, I went to do a 6 months boot camp on site. Now, technologies as they come out, you need to be able to catch the trend, right? I decided to start with Oracle. Now, after learning, understanding what TCP/IP was, I said, okay, this is more relating to how things talk to each other. Now, what's a practical approach to using these in the marketplace? And studying the marketplace back then, and notice that you have financial systems, financial industries were trying to evolve more from the traditional making use of Excel sheets or tables. You know, when Bill Gates brought out the Windows thing in early 2000s or the 1990s, and organizations were getting to deal with Excel sheets, spreadsheets, tables, and you have database analysts, database managers all across different diverse sectors. Now Oracle now comes in, and Oracle becomes like a magic wand. And then you have superpower people who were Oracle professionals, and then there were few, and then you have lots of demand. So even as an engineering student, born with a kind of knack to actually always learn how things work, I decided to take that 6 months, which was supposed to be for my engineering internship, to go do something on Oracle and study it up to professional level. Now, even though, yes, I didn't take practical internship into my engineering skills, in direct engineering, what you have in terms of working for maybe manufacturing sector or the petroleum industry like you have in Nigeria or within the West African continent, I'm using the same engineering skills in tech. And getting that program, once I got my degree, talking with that organization, which happened to be a tech company, to actually start, I was one of they had this conversation, more like an interview, like your tech companies would normally do. And after the interview, you're told that, okay, fine. So this is how your role will be, you to train the next level of people who's going to do it. And the good thing was, like I said, the mindset. Prior to that, this job was in 2008, but the mindset had already been developed as far back as 2002. What was that mindset? Like I said, the growth mindset, continuous growth in terms of understanding how things work. You're starting from the basics. Number one, because like I said, I'm going to explain this in terms of 4 key things. The first one is what I'm talking about, the continuous skills and certification growth. Like Kat mentioned, I cannot overstate that. I cannot overemphasize that. So having learned that, that gave me the first role to become a consultant. Because why? I want to do some kind of self-training. It's more like a sabbatical study. So taking advantage of time and the season, and also the marketplace, understanding the marketplace to say, okay, fine, this is what I'm going to learn. I'm going to understand how this works, and also how I'm going to actually use it and put it into use. So that's the first thing. And from then on, my career trajectory has spanned into roles like IT support engineer with a seismic company, right? You know, after doing consultancy as a consultant for maybe like a client base of like 10 to 15, of course, you get your feet wet, you get that experience, you get that confidence. And then you move on to becoming an IT support engineer for like 2 years, because of course, during the time wherein you're doing one role, like Kat mentioned, it piggies off because you have, like I said, continuous skills. While you're training people how to actually use the Oracle database, you're catching other skills that is relevant and relative to what being a tech person is in another field, right? So talking to the Oracle database, preparing the Oracle database, I'll have to deal with servers, for instance, like the Linux server. So it mandates you to understand how a Linux server will work. You don't actually just focus more on being, oh, this is one OS. Linux, for those that are non-tech here, Linux is another kind of operating system. We have Windows, which we all traditionally used to. Then we have Linux and we have Mac. So Linux is another kind of operating system. So you are mandated to actually get hands-on on that other beast, because apart from the fact you have to deliver for your clients, it's also beneficial to you to actually get that capacity for yourself. So that helped me to actually transition to a support engineer, wherein I have to manage a small LAN for a seismic operation. So what's the LAN? The local area network. So you can see I've transitioned from an Oracle consultant to which involves me doing trainings, doing pre-sales. You know, like pre-sales is more of, the more you make someone understand the technology, how it works, the more they want to buy into it. So you can see while you're training, you're developing training capacity, you're also developing pre-sales capacity. So you're giving an idea. So at the end of the day, when they get a hand of that technology from the session, training session, you give them, they take it back to the organizations and be able to sell it on your behalf. So that is one thing on the side. So like I mentioned, continuous skills, because you have developed the mindset as a professional. And that picked it up to an IT support engineer, which I had to do with another company, and then pick it off into an IT advisory role with a major USAID company, and onto the UN where I am today. So like I mentioned, I'm going to mention the 4 things again. Let me mention them again to transition to how you move. The second thing is your diverse hands-on experience across roles. So while I was saying, while training people on Oracle, I was learning Linux. So since both of them are together, it was just very easy to marry both together. Because of course, every day you're building scripts when you're working on Linux, you're not going to escape writing scripts. You're not going to escape automating things. You're not going to escape backing up things. You're not going to escape building procedures that you're going to use for your Oracle database. So you actually building that together. So at that point in time, you're not just developing with as a professional, you're also developing depth in different dimensions. Okay. Then another thing that helps you, which is number 3, is complex high impact environments, the ability to adapt, adaptability. Now, of course, if you were dealing with 10 or 15 people within a room, right, in a room, and you're talking to them, you're handling complexities, you're handling personalities, you're handling different kind of severity. So it simply means To one person, you have to be a little bit tough because he has the emotions to handle your toughness. To someone else, you might have to do a babysitting or be a mentor or be a coach. So in those kind of environments, every single bit of action that you do counts. So I imagine like there was a second rule I had, which was after I did that first consultancy, now I was more on the longer time with another IT company, because the recommendation they gave me from that one was what they used in the other one. Like, okay, how was he in this company? And the company gave a very positive feedback. Now I'm here, and the KPI to actually judge what the subject matter experts, in which they called us then, were called faculties, was how much revenue we're turning in, how much our revenue cycles were turning, and the rate at which we turn in our revenues. Now, how was that judged? They were judged in, if you're giving, let's say, what you have in Salesforce now. A lot of us, I mean, we know this as Salesforce. They give you a lead of a pipeline of, like, let's say 20 clients, right? The 20 clients are supposed to run the program for like 3 months, and they're supposed to bring in that revenue into the organization. So you're supposed to take that 20 from the beginning of the pipeline all across the program to completion for that actually 3 months. So if at the end of the day, because of the rigorous nature of the way the program is, because when you're training people with technology, you talk about hands-on practical, right? As people are listening to you, you're going to be showing them stuff, showing them demos, which you want them to do. Sometimes it could be boring. So it's on to you as a tech professional to make it not only interesting, not only make it fun, but also make it hands-on. So bringing those three things, if you're able to carry maybe your 20 from the beginning of the pipeline, your client base, all across to the completion of the program, that was what you were judged on. So every single bit of your actions each day, so that kind of high impact is not tied to the bottom line. So being able to thrive in that and learn that capacity, even from those my early days of being a consultant and a trainer and into the high impact parents, especially like the time I was with on the USAID project, talking and working with the federal government representatives in the Federal Ministry of Health, wherein a single miscalculation could actually have a word that could go to the Minister of Health or go to the directors and make you have second thoughts and make your contract go somewhere else. So you have to adapt that and manage that carefully. Then number 4, which is also important, you have to commit to long-term professional advancement. I've mentioned 4 things: continuous skills, certification growth, which is 1, diverse hands-on on your experience across roles, which is another, and then you're adapting to complex high-impact environments, which is another, and then this last one, which is your long-term commitments to professional advancements. Now, of course, the organization is meant to contribute to your own growth, but it is your personal responsibility to ensure that you are either staying ahead of the curve or you're always staying on the edge of the learning curve, because the tech industry doesn't sleep. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't catch a breath, right? So if this industry for you is not something that you like to continually learn, people like Joseph here, who's going to touch on the cats here, you can see the longevity they have. It has to be fun for you to sit down maybe in front of YouTube or Udemy or Coursera and possibly just look at, okay, how does this thing work, even if it's not in use currently. And then you either put that to use or test it, because you can never know. The answer you get from actually learning that can be the difference between you landing your next role, even if you're referred. So that's how I would explain that trajectory of actually moving from beginner to high income roles. These 4 key pillars, for me, that's my own personal take. You may have yours, but I still remember, if I look at my career trajectory, these 4 things has come to play time and time again. And then now, when it comes to the interview part, I know you might want to ask, so how do you stand out in interviews and in job applications? So I started to think through and, okay, what were the 5 common things that helped me out? And I remember, I'll just put them in simple words, and I may not try to explain them too much, so maybe you might take notes. There were 5 things for me: versatility, reliability, adaptability, leadership, and expertise. So the versatility is I'm able to say, okay, different kind of task, like Cass mentioned one word. Never say as a tech professional, oh, you're giving something. It's not like specialization is not necessary, right? But there comes a time wherein you might be given something that is not your forte. So there's nothing wrong. How you respond, don't say, oh, this is not my role, or this is not supposed to be my job. There's a way to communicate something else, to say, okay, yeah, I think I probably might want to handle it. I think I can handle it, or something like that. You can just come up with another communication style. So I'm able to handle various versatility, handle different diverse IT tasks. I remember one that was a couple of years ago, I think last year, this is my new role. We had a developer on the team, one of my staff who actually I'm leading currently, and he relocated to the UK. And there was a business case that needed handling. Now, I'm not the developer, but I'm coordinating the others guys. And I looked at, okay, what is this developer skill set, right? This is cloud thing. Of course, being a cloud engineer, you can deal with the cloud environment, the infrastructure, the VPCs on Amazon and Azure, and do all those stuff. But building cloud apps and be using Power Apps or using Automate and all those things, that's another beast entirely. And guess what? I told the program managers, okay, fine, give me the business case. I looked it down and I told my team, let's have a meeting. And I drafted the entire design. In 1 week, I sat down, I started teaching myself while the office was closed. After office business hours, I started learning myself how to code in Power Apps. And I ended up in 4 months, and I built an entire enterprise application for that team. Now, the thing was, I was pinching myself, and I was looking at my team was a little bit kind of shaky. They were kind of scared. Okay, what's going to happen right now? Do we need to recruit another developer? And they said, definitely, of course, the manager is here. And I can't go back to the program manager and say, oh, we don't have that expertise. Because if there's one thing that IT suffers from, we suffer from our success, right? Cats and Joe can relate to it. Maybe the success you get today is the next thing the managers are expecting you to. Let's say you healed someone from leprosy, right? And then the directors or the board is expecting you to raise someone from the dead. So they expect that, okay, because you were able to get someone from leprosy. So, and it was so good. And not to take anything away, we didn't anticipate how good that solution was. Because even when I was sitting down doing the writing, all those things, killing some of the coding and everything, writing it down, even my team were kind of worried and scared. Chief, you sure definitely this isn't going to work? I said, don't worry. Even if myself, I'm afraid, but of course, as a leader, you have to show boldness and show confidence. And that picked it up to my team. And that solution was that good that we had even our regional team had to call in and ask us to do a demo, and took that same prototype and replicating it across multiple missions. That is one thing. So the ability to say, oh, let me expand my knowledge base, let me be versatile. It's not to actually your detriment, it's actually to your own benefit. Another thing is reliability. What's reliability? You have to show to who you are actually being interviewed with that, oh, most of the time, everyone seems to want to pass through you. It's not like you're working in silos, right? Because you have to show that you are someone that can count on, right? If 3 or 10 people actually ask you for questions, most of the time it might not be during office hours, it might not be during working hours, it might be in off working hours. They should be able to say, yes, okay, fine, Emmanuel is going to respond, or Joe is going to respond, no problem, just talk to Joe. So that is another thing that you show during your interviews. You know, it helps to say, okay, yes, you consistently resolve critical issues, you consistently solve issues on time, because it's also important, you know, we are always on the urge, right? We are always under pressure of time. Even if sometimes, you know, you have to be careful how you communicate your ETA in terms of how soon you're going to deliver. Even if it is going to cost you like 2 weeks to deliver, you have to find a way to communicate that to your manager to say, okay, fine, it cost me 3 weeks, but that you will learn that through your experience. If you're going to learn 2 weeks, use 2 weeks to solve it, you don't tell them 2 weeks, because shit might happen. Trouble is going to happen. So you have to be sure. So that gives you the experience. So that's reliability, because as much as you show, then it will show during your interviews as well. Then adaptability, like being able to communicate that, oh, I've been to this country, I've been to that country, I've been to this environment, from private sector to oil and gas sector to training to education services, now to the United Nations. So you communicate that across different timelines. So that is something that I'm able to communicate. Like before getting to the United Nations, of course, if they asked me whether you have international experience or adaptability. Of course, because since I have global support teams that I talk to that are across different parts of the world, you are also learning cultures as well. So you can have that confidence to say, yes, you do have that international experience, even if you don't have it on site. But of course, it's not like you're going to say something that is wrong or false. The most important thing, you're communicating the truth in the way that best sell your capacity. Then leadership, now leading teams, whether it's a team of 1 or a team of 10 or a team of 10,000, to be able to lead, to be able to guide a group of people to achieve an objective, that is another thing that you also have to show during your interviews and applications. So it's one thing to write it on your application, of course, communicate it. Now you have AI that can help every one of us to actually draft things, but you have to do your work and look through it and make sure that it tallies with what you actually have or reality. Challenges, I can't tell enough of challenges that I've led teams, like I just mentioned the example in which I have to guide them, take away their fear of coding, even though definitely I myself definitely didn't have the in-depth fit to make sure that it's fun. Yes, I had line of scripting, but when you're talking about coding, it's another different ball game entirely. Then expertise, of course, that comes when you continually educate yourself, education-wise, professionally-wise as well. So these are the 5 things I believe helps one to actually stand out in your applications and interview. You communicate it well, you tailor it to what the job description is, and then during your interview, you actually give hands-on examples, like I just mentioned, like the solution I mentioned, the impact it's making. And then before you now start talking about the figures and counting the mathematics of all those parts. So basically, in a nutshell, it has worked for me. There might be others, you might have others, but I'm sure that maybe from this you can actually add a few: versatility, reliability, adaptability, leadership, expertise. So once you're able to communicate it, I'm sure 7 out of 10 interviews you attend, definitely, I'm sure definitely you should be good with that. In addition to the others I've just given, how my career trajectory has found over the years. Yeah, so that's it basically. Thank you, Toyo. I'll hand it over to you.
All right. Thank you so much for that session. And I really took a lot from it. I believe the most important thing for me here to pass across to all the enthusiasts in the call right now is there is always, a starting point for you as an IT person. There is always somewhere that you are starting from. So, where are you starting from? What are the resources you have at hand? What is the knowledge base you have at hand? Because that actually matters, because looking at your environment, which is also something that Emmanuel mentioned right now, is um, looking at your environment right now. What are the things that are in demand right now in your environment? Because that's something that you can, consider when you're trying to, get jobs and all of that. What are the things that your immediate, probably you've noticed in your country at the moment? Let's say you've observed probably there's a shift from um, probably companies are having on-prem servers and they're shifting to cloud servers, for that instance. And then you see that problem and you say, okay, why don't I get skills on cloud infrastructure? And then when you get skills like that, you see that you're automatically, you are in demand, and then people want to work with you. So that's something that we can, consider. So there's always a starting point. Number 2, consider your environment at the moment. What are the skills that are in demand? And then, of course, something he also mentioned, just like Katz said earlier, is your curiosity, because that's something that helps you go far in this career. What are the things? What are the things that keep you going? What are the what's your passion, basically? Those things matter in this line of work, because if you are not passionate about your job right now, you encounter things that definitely make you lose that morale, because something you also mentioned is when you are giving tasks, when you are giving jobs, sometimes you look at it like, am I supposed to be doing this? And then they are imposed on you sometimes. Sometimes they are requested of you, sometimes they're imposed, and then you say, why am I the one doing this? Is this my responsibility? But at that point in time, there are also moments you can take it upon yourself to learn new skills, upgrade your skills, take on new responsibilities, and even as though it could be, a double-edged sword at that point in time, because, like you said also, Probably you might be requested to, do above and beyond, in the next, probably in next situation, but at the same time, it still, you gets you to your next level, when you challenge yourself with things like that. So it was an amazing session, Emmanuel, and it was a very nice one. Definitely we'll be seeing you in the panel session when we have questions and taking the questions already. So we have a brief announcement to make right about now, and then I'll let the moderator um, take it from here.
All right, great. Good afternoon, everybody. It's been an amazing session so far, and I'm really glad everyone here could make it. So, we've been announcing that we have a big announcement to make during our webinar session, and this is the big announcement. So, we're partnering with Tech Revolution Africa. The event is coming up in January, and we have a representative from them on this call to speak more about it. So, Vivian, you can speak now.
Oh, thank you so much, Hester. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm so excited about this cheers. I mean, please, a round of applause for yourselves, please. And the previous speakers have had a great session. I joined right from the beginning and had a great session, right? Even if it's your field or even if it's not, really good session and insightful. Thanks for putting this together. Terrific. Thank you, everyone. So I'm Vivian, and I'm the project lead at Tech Revolution Africa. And basically, right, Tech Revolution Africa, of course, in partnership with MTN, what do we seek to achieve? It's a 2 day conference, often at the beginning of the year. And over the years, we've partnered with World Bank, federal government, Federal Republic of Nigeria, federal government basically of Nigeria, to train tech talents, right, across all our platforms. And one of the things we noted was that, okay, there's this gap in between skilled tech talents with reconnecting with top tech leaders, right, such as MTN, Sterling Bank, like tech giants. Basically, if you're just trained in tech, so to speak, right, there's always this gap. Please confirm if you can hear me, if anyone can hear me. So yeah, there's always this gap. Thank you so much. With connecting with those at the top in the tech industry. So we decided to create a platform. I'll bring everyone in the room together and also to forecast the Africa's digital economy for the year. And that explains why it's always in the beginning of the year. So come to earlier this year, we had one in partnership with MTN. Of course, so it was on the 31st on February 1st of 25. But this next session is going to be on the 30th and 31st of January in 2026. And yeah, we honestly we are going to have a lot of top tech leaders there, and we've recorded successes of free tech trainees in platforms like Project sorry, PMI. So yeah, you can get to walk up to one of the top tech leaders, pitch yourself, and who knows. Like, so this is a platform for you to really, really connect and yeah, just to meet with people in the industry. And I'm very excited to announce to you that there's a 10% discount on ticket sales. If you use, there's a code given to this community. I think I'll just send something to the chat box. 1 minute. Okay, so when you use the code Torres Tech off, there's a 10% discount on all ticket categories purchased. And trust me, when I say that tickets are getting filled up, like this is what like it's getting filled up. So you might want to, just take advantage of it. It's going to happen in Lagos, Nigeria by next year. So please plan to attend, prepare to attend, and we should learn about the Africa's digital economy. And trust me, we have attendees from all over the world, right? I was speaking to someone 2 weeks ago, and he told me, oh, he already even booked his flight, yes, to Tech Revolution Africa next year. So trust me, you do not want to miss it. Even if anyone is missing it, I don't think anyone in Tourist Tech community should actually miss it. So yes, I'm trying to think of any other question that might arise from this presentation so I can just touch it, but I can't think of any now. I look forward to answering any of your questions, right? So just check through techrevolutionafrica.org for more information, say the kind of speakers we are bringing, the caliber of speakers we are bringing, and you of course can check other social media handles too. I look forward to seeing anyone there. And when you get to Tech Revolution Africa conference, just tell them you are asking of Vivian and remind me of this day. Trust me, I'm going to remember you. I'm going to remember you, and I look forward to seeing you and giving you a very big hug and handshake. Thank you so much, everyone. I guess I made use of my time.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Vivian. So we'll be expecting to see more of our community members at the event. More information about this will be shared on our community platform on WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Instagram. So you can follow us on Thursday on Instagram and also on LinkedIn for more information, and also join our community. Thank you so much. Trisha, over to you, please.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Tech Revolution Africa. We are looking forward to an amazing partnership and then, of course, future collaborations going forward. Yeah.
Yes, same here. We're also looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
All right. We are going back into our session, and we have, yeah, we have Danielle Robinson. She's going to be our third speaker for the session. She is the founder and CEO of CyberBoss Consulting LLC. It's a cybersecurity and a digital risk firm that is currently bridging the gap between security, education, and accessibility. She has over 13 years of experience across IT, privacy, incident response in both private and public sectors. She's a recognized and a dynamic cybersecurity leader. She has managed global projects worth over $2 billion, leading to teams to deliver for scalable solutions across business goals under her leadership. She's also a recipient of the Applaud Award for Entrepreneurship and Sharing. She also mentors emerging analysts and leads community well over 3,000 cybersecurity enthusiasts, and inspiring the next generation of cybersecurity professionals. Yes, that's well. So today she's going to be speaking on beyond the paycheck and building financial independence as an IT professional. So I'm just going to leave the floor for her to take it from here.
Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. Again, like Torju said, my name is Danielle Robinson, and I will be speaking on building a sense of financial independence as an IT professional. But I think it's really important to understand the journey, right, from personal experience to be able to put it all together to see how you can align it with your journey and how you want to move forward. So I started as an investigator with the state of California. And I was driving Uber at night, right? So we talk about sacrifices. I have been making sacrifices since the beginning of time, I feel like. As a single mom of two, I have always had to be able to work an additional job of some sort to be able to ensure that we live the lifestyle that I want for me and my children. So while I was an investigator for the state, my coworker came to me and said, "Hey, Danielle, you are too sharp to be sitting in this chair. You need to go back to school for your master's degree in digital forensics and cybersecurity investigations." And I told that man he was crazy. I said, "I'm not going back to school. I have two kids. I'm a single mom. I'm working. I drive Uber at night. I'm already an investigator. It's too much work," right? But when he started talking about the salaries and the change of trajectory that it could have on my life, I said, "Sign me up," right? To make a long story short. So I went back to school. I made the sacrifice, right? Again, we're going to talk about sacrifice here. I stopped driving Uber. I worked the one job. I sat down. I stopped hanging out with friends and told the kids that, we have to sit down for a little while mommy goes to school. And I got my master's degree in 18 months with a 4.0 GPA. But then it was really hard to obtain a job, right? Because I didn't have any hands-on experience in technology, right? I came from an analytical background, governance, risk, and compliance, if you will. And so it was hard to start. So long story short, I made a post on LinkedIn. My post went viral for back then. And I ended up landing a job as an application security analyst in Salt Lake City, Utah. So again, sacrifice. I had to pick up my 2 kids and move, from Sacramento, California to Salt Lake City, Utah, which wasn't fun. But I got some amazing experience there. Although I was hired as an application security analyst, the chief information security officer was training me to be his right hand. So as Kat mentioned, take on any projects that come your way. There was nothing that I turned down. If he told me to go sit alongside the software developers and learn secure software development lifecycle, that's exactly what I did. If he told me to go sit with the CI/CD pipeline engineers and understand how to secure it properly, that's exactly what I did. And then when he offered me the chance to go to Mumbai, India, to train with the security engineers in India, that's exactly what I did. So I had a whole week in India where I trained with the security engineers there, and I enjoyed my time. I learned about culture. And again, all of it was a sacrifice, but I learned many skills. And I'm sharing this story because it's going to lead up on how you utilize your skills outside of your job in order to continue making money. Because again, that's how I started, right? I was holding down a job and working a second job and maintaining the lifestyle that I wanted for me and my kids. So after 6 months of it being in that position as an application security analyst, I decided to take a job back in California. I wanted to move back home, and my daughter has some medical issues, so I wanted to be close to family. So I moved back home and became a senior consultant with a global organization. And I started out as an information systems security officer. Again, learned as much as I could. And within 3 months of getting that job, so now keep in mind, I had 9 months of security experience. A client, a major client said, Danielle, we want you to deliver security services for us. Now, keep in mind, there was already a director in that position, and they essentially said, we want you to play that role. And I'm like, but I have 9 months of security experience. And they said, we don't care how much experience you have the attitude that we want, you mesh well with our team, and you have the technical aptitude to be able to learn anything that we are willing to teach you. And so I didn't turn it down. I said, yes, sign me up immediately. So again, going back to what Kat said, do not turn down any opportunity that is an opportunity for you to learn and gain skills. So I took on that role. I led security globally for onshore, offshore security operations center. I overseeing these security engineers for the implementation of the security tools. I oversaw the information system security officers who pulled the vulnerability reports. So overseeing all of the infrastructure essentially for delivering of those security services. And I did the job, and I did the job well for 2.5 years. And that's what really launched my career. And I learned so many different aspects of security and gained so many skills during that time that I began to learn or to utilize my skills outside of the job, right? So you definitely have to ensure that when you do pick up jobs outside of your current job, that it's not in conflict. So for example, I deliver security services. Part of that is incident response, but that's not my main job, right? So I was able to pick up a second job as an incident response person at night when I needed additional monies to be able to bring in for my family. Of course, had to sacrifice sleep because I had to work at night and work during the day and in the evening. But it allowed for me to build up a nest egg to be able to go on to my next mission, which was building an entire mobile application to be able to now train folks on how to transition into cybersecurity. So as Torju said, I have a Facebook community called the Cybersecurity Knowledge Exchange. It's up to actually 4,000 members now almost. And initially I was heavily inspiring folks to transition. I was posting different learning topics, and I was ensuring that people knew exactly how to do the role of an information system security officer. but it became overwhelming, right? I'm only one person, and there was like many, 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 many people that were coming to me and saying, hey, Danielle, can you mentor me? Can you teach me? So what I decided to do was to take the additional money of my own money that I earned outside of the workplace, and I built an entire application called QRIQ. It's actually a mobile application that you can download, and I brought my network together, right? So I brought my network together. I have instructors from Zoom, Salesforce, Google, Deloitte. I have a network of professionals that now teach people on the QRIQ platform how to transition into cybersecurity by building various skills. So, for example, if you decided that you wanted to be a penetration tester, I have a guy from United Airlines that will actually teach you how to build a home lab and literally penetration test or pen test vulnerable machines. If you wanted to be a cybersecurity engineer, he'll teach you how to build a cybersecurity home lab. If you want to be a threat analyst, we have an instructor for anything that you want to do in cybersecurity, because I believe it's big for you to get a mentor in the industry who can help fast track your career. One of the things that I didn't mention is that I had a mentor even on my job, right? So once I took that job as a security manager, they paired me with one of the leads, another director that I can go to and ask questions. So if there was something that I wasn't familiar with, I was able to go to that director and say, hey, maybe it was like firewall reviews or something, that as Emmanuel mentioned, TCP/IP, like you definitely want to understand networking, because within the infrastructure, everything has to communicate. But again, you have to have a fundamental knowledge. You may not go and get the CCNA certification, but you do have to have the fundamental knowledge. And if there's something that you get stuck on or you don't understand because it's within the client environment and you need to talk to someone internally, you definitely want to have a mentor to be able to go and communicate some of the challenges that you're having. So that's what the QRIQ platform is all about, is ensuring that you have a mentor and a guide that can get you past any type of challenges or even mental barriers that you may have on your journey. And that's a part of me also building out my financial wealth, right? So not only am I helping the community by offering a low-cost way to transition into cybersecurity, but it's also building a financial nest egg and leaving behind not only a legacy for myself, but also for my children, and something that they can say, this is what my mom built and this is what she left behind. And that's kind of like where I am today, and what I want to leave with you guys is that it's all about your mindset, what you want to do in life. You have to understand what your why is. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? How determined are you to get things done, right? Based on your why. And for me, it was my children. I wanted to ensure that my children had an amazing life. And we do, I since moving, or since getting into the industry, I moved a couple of times. So I told you I moved from Salt Lake City back to Sacramento, and now we're actually all the way in Orlando, Florida. So I ended up picking up and moving across the country. But if it wasn't for the sacrifices that I made to be able to get into this industry, I wouldn't have even been able to have the money to move across the country. But I picked up, my two kids, and we moved across the country, and it's one of the best decisions that I've ever made. My kids are thriving here. And it's been a really amazing experience and journey. So I highly recommend, getting into cybersecurity. As Emmanuel said, as Kat said, learn as much as you can while you're in the industry. Again, utilize the skills that you have learned, even outside of the job. Again, making sure that it's not in conflict with your current company that you're working for. But there's freelance companies such as Upwork, Fiverr. If you have access to any of those opportunities, they're there. QRIQ, if you guys can, if it's available in your country and you can download the mobile application, you can also be listed as a consultant on that platform as well. I am going to tell you though, it's new. We're literally week 3 into classes, so we don't have a huge visibility yet, but it is growing. So that's what I'll leave with you. Determine what your why is and your mindset, and jump in and do the things that you want to do. You can do anything that you put your mind to. That's all I got for you.
All right. Thank you so much, Danielle, for an amazing session. And for me, your whys were very, very big. Yeah, your whys were very big. Were very big. And thank you so much. My takeaway from this session will be, aside from your why, is get yourself a very good mentor, someone you can look up to, someone you can actually learn from directly, and then you can, ask um, questions from. Can either be people in your direct workspace, they could be individuals you recognize online, and you can easily reach out to them and have conversations with them. And of course, from this session, if you decide to have conversations with, if you want to have conversations with the speakers on this call, you can throw in your questions, and you can also leave questions like that, and then I'm sure they'll be happy to respond to issues that you might have. So for me, those are my two takeaways from this session. Um, ask yourself what is your why? Why are you doing this thing? Why are you in this profession? What is your drive? What drives you in this career? And then definitely try and get yourself someone that can actually direct you, and then set you on that path. And I think that's something that Emmanuel also spoke about. So thank you for an amazing session, Danielle. And of course, before I forget, Danielle has built something amazing. It's a platform where you can actually get, should I say that, mentor from people who can actually direct and teach you, and then point you in the right direction in the cybersecurity space. Well, I don't think it's limited to just cybersecurity, is it?
No, we're actually going to expand it out because the name is QRIQ, so it doesn't necessarily say cybersecurity, but we do want to focus on, everything has to have security involving security. So one of the instructors that I actually just brought on is actually an international student from Kenya. So he's actually going to be teaching data analysis, probably starting the first week of December, if not earlier. But those will be free courses. So he's going to come on as a volunteer. So we're definitely going to bring something to the community that they could utilize, and that's like the fundamentals before you go into data security engineering.
All right, guys, you heard it directly from her. Let's jump in and then let's engage with the platform, and then let's see what we can. So for our final speaker, we are going to be having Joseph. Yeah, I'm going to be having Joseph. He is the proprietor of JS Computer Solutions and a resolute self-made technology SMA. His core passion is helping others discover how technology can simplify and protect themselves. His mission lies in educating and assisting others in safely integrating security, infrastructure, network, and automation technologies into their everyday routines. A true testament to commitment, Joseph is most proud of becoming a technology SME without a formal degree, demonstrating a passion and hands-on experience can forge a path to specialization. While he started his career in programming, he quickly realized his drive was in helping people and making direct difference rather than sitting in code. While he is not leveraging his skills to simplify secure client technology from his own lab, he lives in New Jersey with his amazing family, amazing wife Amy, and she is after 4-year-old son Joseph Jr. So Joseph, please take it from here.
Hello, everyone, and thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited to be here. Becoming your own boss in IT support is something I never would have thought I'd be. When I first got my first computer in 1985, I was 7 years old and thought it was like absolutely amazing, and I took it apart because I wanted to see what was inside and learn how it worked and understand how it did what it did. but never did I think at that point that I'd have my own business, or be able to support people in my own business. I think some of the key factors have been mentioned. I've seen a pattern throughout everybody, and I think one of the biggest things is empathy and understanding your customers, and what you do and what you can bring to the table for that customer, and the ability to explain to your customer or end user, whatever the case may be, in a manner in which that they can understand it, because not everyone is as technical as we might be. And I would say to focus on your ability to communicate with people and help them understand in terms that aren't, tech speak, of maybe what happened or what you're looking at, or how you're going about it. And in sometimes, that may even bring out of the person, hey, I right before it happened, I did this and that happened. So it might even help you investigate the system. Start simple. You don't need to be able to support everything across every breadth and width of technology, because it's a broad subject, whether it's cybersecurity or Microsoft or Google or AWS or home tech, as in like home automation or PCs or Macs. There's a lot of stuff out there. It can take a long time to learn that kind of stuff, but build your foundation. Find something that you're passionate about. If there's maybe an underserved area within of businesses in your area in tech, that you're passionate about, or it's something that drives you. I know one of the things that drives me is I love to help people, and to know at the end of the day I made a difference in someone's life. My mother started one of the first latchkey programs in the state of New Jersey for students who didn't have parents to go home to at the end of the day. They could have somewhere to go and be with other children and watch over them without being home alone. And when I got into technology, I eventually got into the education space. And even though I became a network engineer working behind the scenes, of that kind of stuff, I know at the end of the day, I was helping children get an education. And that was very rewarding to me. And it felt at the end of the day that I made a difference. That was, that was a big thing for me. Don't be afraid to make your own path if you don't see one, because at the time when I first went to college, it was everything you wanted to do as far as computers was programming. And while I went there fully expecting to get into programming, I found it kind of boring. But it did end up helping me later on in my career when I learned to script things in Linux, and one of the languages I learned very early on helped me in a job 15 years later. So don't ever turn down an opportunity to learn something, because you never know when you're going to be able to take that knowledge that you've acquired and use that, sometime later down the road. Build a foundation of good practices and learn the best practices in whatever area you're working in. Look for mentors and things of that nature. There's a lot of resources available across the internet, whether it be a Reddit forum or a Discord group or an app, or even YouTube, or things of that nature. There's always people out there. Surround yourself with I always say, surround yourself with people who are smarter than you are. And that's not just to say, also be humble. None of us can know everything. And it's just not possible. As much as I'd love to, it's not realistic. Surround yourself with smart people, and you all lift each other up. Lift each other up and learn from each other. And sometimes you can bounce an idea off a wall, and it may go from the smallest idea whatsoever and turn into something huge. Start your first customers might be your friends and family, or people in your neighborhood, or community groups, senior citizens in your area who may have a computer but don't necessarily know how to use it. Local Facebook groups. I've even found that in the small community I live in, the small area, there were people posting in the Facebook group, hey, I need help with my laptop died, and they didn't know where to turn to. That's how you can start small and grow your business from small things to gradually getting into bigger customers and things. Also, learn some of the business side of things. It's important. What are you going to charge people? Decide that, ahead of time. Contacts. Always be making contacts with people, because you never know. Excuse me. You never know where that contact is going to take you. I met someone years ago who introduced me some of the people at some famous sports teams in my area that I've been a fan of since a child. And I've been able to help some of those people from those sports teams, whether it be in their home environment or some of them at their work environment. And it's been really cool for me to be able to help some of those sports mega stars and stuff like that, to be able to help them. It's been a really cool thing. You never know where contacts might lead you. Building bigger opportunities as you grow. LinkedIn, I know somebody mentioned Upwork and Fiverr. Those can be things where you can help people remotely. When I first came into the industry, there was really much in the way of remote software, and programs like Rustdesk now that are it's an open source tool that's completely free, and you can host it yourself very easily in a Docker container, where you can then remotely log into another person's computer as long as it's online and help them. And I found early on in my career that when remote tools became available, I could be at my desk and helping 5 people, then running around like a chicken without my head and fix 2, at the same time. Work smarter, not harder. Try to help people, as many people as you can, in the time that you have. Don't try to kill yourself. You'll burn out very quickly, if you don't work smarter than harder. There's a ton of freelance marketplaces out there. There's repeatable services that once you get the hang of things and learning things, you're going to see some of the same issues over and over and over again. Documentation. I know it was mentioned early on. Document all those things. So then, as you're growing your career, you can go back to that knowledge and remember, oh, that's how I fixed this problem. Or this problem relates to another problem I was having, and this is how I fixed one. So let me see if I can apply that same concept to this other problem. Start locally, but you can also act globally. The market, could be your, you can start out in your town and work towards a country, or in some cases in the UN. One of the other speakers had to say that's a really awesome thing. It's a global presence. And turning your knowledge, eventually your knowledge is worth something. It's very powerful. It's a powerful tool. Knowledge is power. The more you know, and the more you can surround yourself with people that know, you'd be surprised what you can learn from people. There's tons and tons of people, be it YouTube or the Pure IQ app, Network Chuck. I know is a big person I've even learned from on YouTube, because I always believe in IT, you kind of have to know what's going on tomorrow in order to stay ahead of the bleeding curve, because it's a constantly evolving thing. It never stops. It never sleeps. Technology is 24/7, 365, sometimes even more. If that's possible. It's build digital tools, templates that you can reuse, troubleshooting checklists. Start from the beginning. I remember a situation where I can give you a funny story. I was teaching some new desktop technicians that were, really basically starting out in their career, and the first thing I did was set up a PC for them, and I did everything and plugged it all in together, except for I left the electric plug unplugged. And I asked them all to look at the computer, but they couldn't touch anything. And I said, "What's wrong with this computer?" I tried to push the power button on, and I got every answer under the sun. And nobody thought to check to see if it was plugged in. So I know that sounds kind of silly, but start at the beginning. When you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras. Because sometimes it's the simple stuff that can trip you up. Start easy, build the foundation, the core knowledge of what you want to learn, and grow it out from there. But make sure you have that core knowledge. That CCNA. I was fortunate enough in the late '90s to work with. I believe at the time there was only maybe 200 or 300 CCIEs in the world, and I worked with 15 or 20 of them at a company I was working with, and they were so full of knowledge, and it was unfathomable to me, and I was able to I turned myself into a sponge and tried to suck up, even though I didn't always understand what they were saying or doing, but just sucking up that knowledge and understanding what they were talking about, and then going and researching and doing things that help you grow, that can help you build your business. So that's huge. That's huge, that base of knowledge, because you have to, in order to build a house, it has to have a good foundation. And that goes for a business, that can go for a career, that can go for anything. And if there's something that you're passionate about, or you have an interest in, whether it's the education industry that it was for me, or other industries out there, find something that you're passionate about. Find something that drives you, that lights that spark, that spark that lights that fire inside of you, and use that, because technology can be difficult at times. It can be difficult, and you're going to fail. It will happen, but learn from it. and try to learn from that and move forward. There's even situations where you may make an accident with a customer or delete something, or there's always a way to undo things. There's always somebody smarter out there. We had a person in a banking institution erase a hard drive once, and it turns out the only copy of the code that a person had been working on for almost 5 years was on that computer. We were able to find an expert in California, sent that drive out, and that had been what's called G disks, where it was erased and written over random writes, and then in order to make sure that the hard drive was completely devoid of information, we were able to send that hard drive out to a company. They restored the data in, I think it took an hour or an hour and a half. And even in the late 90s, that was a big deal. Anything you do can be undone in some way or another, 90% of the time. But don't be afraid. Don't let fear hold you back, because if there's not a path, make one. Make your own. I think that's probably about my time, and I'd like to thank Tars Tech for having me here today, and thank you all for joining us. I know this was really exciting for me to be able to reach people and hopefully help people in their career. Feel the need to find me on LinkedIn if you want to ask questions, or on here or later on LinkedIn. If you want to reach out, you have questions about how you want to move forward, or I'm glad to help anybody I can. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate you listening.
All right. Thank you so much, Joseph, for an amazing session. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll say my two takeaways from this is the importance of having, should I say, powerful connections or individuals in my space that I can actually learn from. There's this saying that goes, show me your friends and then I'll tell you, who you are. So having people around me that I can, learn from and take away from, and vice versa, will definitely go a long way from advancing myself in my career and my space. And then also you talked about not being afraid to make mistakes, because I believe personally that is something that comes with a career. I mean, failure is something that you definitely go through a lot of times, especially when you are troubleshooting, and then definitely you make mistakes, but this shouldn't be something that stops you. It shouldn't be something that it tells you, but it should be what pushes you to go forward and try to learn more and then expand your knowledge base. So thank you so much, Joseph. So quickly we'll be jumping into the panel and discussion session. This will be very brief. If you have questions, we are taking them in. You can put them on the form so that we can direct questions to the speaker. A couple of questions have come in already, and then I'll be asking them to my speakers. While some questions are directed specifically to some speakers, and also if you have one or two inputs to make on questions after the directed speaker has, touched the question, you can always go for it. So first of all, let me ask this question. I believe it goes to Emmanuel, and the question says, is it too late? Is it too late switching to a career in IT support with interest in network administration for an individual close to 40 years of age? And this question goes to Emmanuel. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thank you for that question. Told you. So it's really, it sounds funny, but there's one industry that I've come to discover that doesn't have an age. I hope. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, great. Thank you for that question. Awesome. So I would say no, because I've come to discover that if there's one industry that doesn't have an age limit or an age of entering, barrier to entering, is the IT industry. You could be 50, you could be 60, you could be 20. As we speak, I'm an aspiring CCI engineer, as in with my foray in cybersecurity, DevOps, cloud, networking, I intend to still get my CCIE now. But we have young guys. There's a guy like Magazu said, guys that are CCIEs. That there's a guy that's about 13 years old. There's an Indian young chap. He's gotten the CCIE. The context matters. What matters is, do you love it enough to be able to stay the course of challenges when they come? Because networking administration is fun, is enjoyable, is pleasurable, right? Over 40, you have family commitments, you have other engagements, of course. Your body may give you one or two things, but your mindset, as long as your mindset stays the same, your cells will agree with you, as long as that's what you want and it's what you love. So my answer is there is no age limit for networking administration, whether it's networking design, network architecture, or network engineering, as long as you're going to love it when challenges come and you can get in. And now there are easy ways to even shorten the learning curve, shorten the learning path. You can, there are online tools, online learning platforms that you can actually engage in, just like YouTube. And there are some that have structured learnings. I think you have something like Dynamics. Maybe you can talk with Told you, any of these listeners can talk with Told you, and then maybe get the links. I can get the links to you, and then you can share it with them. So there's no, and the most fun thing I just forgot, if you have a laptop, it also helps, right? A personal laptop. And there was some good specifications. So with that, I think you'll be good, because what you're going to be learning is not as expensive as it was back then, when you need to buy the equipment or buy lots of racks, build your own physical data centers. Even though the experience is necessary, you can have this lab equipment. You've got Cisco Unified Modeling Labs, you've got Eve, NG, you've got Cisco Packet Tracer. So there are labs that you can leverage on to save you the cost of equipment. And then there are online learning platforms that you can subscribe to as well. So yeah, there you go. I hope that answers the question. If you have any other contribution.
Yeah, I believe that does justice to that question. But in case it doesn't, you can still go ahead and highlight. That will definitely respond to questions. So I'll say home labs is something that you can actually take away from that response, because there are easy free resources everywhere nowadays that you can easily catch up on for these things. And of course, age is just a number. For me, I have Joseph on the call here. He can testify to that. It mostly has to do with your mindset. You know, if you are always curious, always seeking to get that extra knowledge, definitely the sky is going to be your limit. The sky is going to be your limit. So I'll be jumping to the next question. Right off the bat. This question is directed to Pat, and then it says, a lot of people struggle with troubleshooting. How do you personally approach a problem when you don't know where to start? All right. So over to
Yes. So, like I said previously, It's pretty simple, starting with the 5W principle. So what is wrong, who is impacted, where it's happening. I'm forgetting myself. So who, what, where, when, and why. And why is going to be the final step to understanding and then preventing the issue furthermore. But what is happening, it will allow you to understand what the issue is, more or less. Who is impacted will let you know if one user or if the whole organization is impacted, or if it's a group of users, which will also then determine the impact of the issue occurring. Where, of course, it will also allow you to understand, is it remotely, is it on site, to understand what exactly is going on. When will give you a time frame of the issue occurring, and of course why, like I was saying, will determine the root cause of the issue, which is also often disregarded because we don't have that much time to invest, straight up when the issue is occurring, to be able to understand why it happened. But it's definitely something you want to go to and analyze after the issue occurred. Have your break it down, have your root cause analysis, and this will definitely give you a way to prevent the problem from occurring in the future. So I would say that is my frame for working with from the easiest to most complex problems.
Wow, all right. Thank you. I think that definitely simplifies that. So definitely there is always somewhere to start from. The question says when you don't know where to start from, but there's always somewhere to start. So we have another question directed to you. I mean, it says, you said always listen and never trust. Can you break that down for beginners? Okay.
Yes. So, well, the users will often tell you a whole story where, of course, active listening and being an empath is great, but sometimes, they can tell you anything and whatever is going on. So never trust it as such. Always check, always double check, always test, and always verify. Yeah, what's the user? You cannot expect your user or your business customer to have an idea of what exactly is going on and just come up with all the troubleshooting steps already solved out for you. So they can tell you, yeah, a huge story that, well, like I was saying in my example before, well, if you don't boot up my computer, and also what Joseph has mentioned, yeah, you can overlook a very simple thing, just as the cable not being plugged. A user can call you and tell you, oh, my internet is down and my this is down and this doesn't work. Yeah, well, it might be just a cable. So it's up to you to ask the right questions in a moment and determine what is going on. So never trust is referring to that.
All right. I'll definitely drop a little information on this one. There are times that you might have experiences where you are called or you get a ticket that there's an issue, and then when you get there and then you see the situation and then you ask questions, and then everybody says, oh, we don't know what happened. It just happened. You might see a broken screen, and then you're like, how did this screen get broken? Like, oh, we don't know. It just broke on its own. I just touched it and it broke. And then it just happens like that. And then that's why she says, never always listen, and then never trust. Do your own troubleshooting. So you have one more question. I have a couple of questions, really, and then we can only take one more from you. I have other speakers like asking. This question says, you mentioned networking as a foundation. What practical steps should beginners take to build real networking skills beyond theory, especially in a limited environment?
This is also for me, right, Taju?
Yes, for you.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Well, so like Emmanuel, Joseph, well, like we all uh, possibly have mentioned, you of course need to know the basics. So you need to know what IP, TCP IP is, what DNS server does, what DHCP is. So you do need some theory, but nowadays you can easily go into networking without having the CCNA certification. You can build a lab, practice a lab. You can mess up your own router or your own. I'm sorry, I'm hearing a Nico. Yeah, all right. So you can build your own app. You can install Wireshark. You can install. You can try and test. So I was saying, we often learn with well, broken stuff and messed up stuff and trying to repair it. So I started off, for instance, with while I was more like an application support desk, I would be going with field technicians and laying down the cables, the network cables. So it really depends, like also Danielle was saying, on your mindset and your willingness to learn. That will kind of guide your path. And also by doing so, because I also started as a web developer, as application developer, just as Joseph hated it. And it's only when I saw an open computer that I jumped on it and wow, this is my thing. This is what I want to be doing. So same for networking. It's of course, if you go through CCNA 1 and 2, and furthermore, it is a whole philosophy. There is a lot of theory, but it's really the hands-on experience that you're going to, that will give you the experience and the feel of what you're doing. So practice, make a lab. I think Emmanuel has mentioned, if you nowadays, if you have a laptop, before you needed a whole intricate, complicated setup, but now with just a laptop you can have a virtual machine setup and start from there, and you can really build a whole infrastructure from just one IP address, actually. And this is also my take on the very first question to Emmanuel. Just for you to know, I also, not to discourage anyone, I've done my networking certification where I was 39 with 4 kids at home, and also while working. So I had to take a year for that. So I was doing 4 hours of Cisco a day and 4 hours of server configuration each and every day in Dutch. So not even in English. Then of course all my exams I had to pass them in English. Yeah, so it wasn't easy, but it's definitely doable when you're into it. I'm not a great mathematician, but I was subnetting by hand and calculating everything in binaries. But you start small, and you start definitely the networking. You started from configuring, being able to configure a server. So sorry, a switch. So yeah. I'm mixing up things, yeah, but because I've been into many fields and areas in IT, but yeah, definitely starts from configuring a switch. Try and practice with your home tools that you have available, and it's definitely doable. Just as well as we mentioned, there are many tutorials. There are many, you can get help, and that is not forcibly something that you need to invest and pay for. But nowadays you can find all the information for free. Use ChatGPT as well. It's very helpful. It's not always 100% right, but use the tools that you have available for you. I work a lot with ChatGPT. Honestly, it's making my life much more easier. And like Joseph was saying, make templates. Gather your own documentation, and ChatGPT is definitely super helpful with that, because a document that you would need maybe a week to build on and prepare, now you can have it within minutes and available to you for free. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, that definitely, I think it definitely answers even the question that was directed to Emmanuel. And I'd like to say that definitely ton of resources online. You can easily get them for free, actually, and work on yourself. We have another question. I believe this is a general question from Innocent. He says, I have 10 years of network experience. Um, the education sector. However, it's pretty much difficult to secure a place in an enterprise network environment. And what do you think is causing the confusion with enterprise network environment hiring network support engineer who has worked in a school? And I believe Joseph was doing justice to this question already. So can you let us know?
Absolutely, because I've gotten this a lot, actually, in my own career, from switching back and forth. I look at it. I look at it like this, and you should too. Don't think of a school as or an education industry as anything different, because at the end of the day, their network is still an enterprise level network, and it has to be, because now schools and municipalities and things of that nature are just as much as a target as Fortune 500 companies, as far as cybersecurity goes. And if tomorrow that school closed and became a widget factory and they made widgets, the IT end of that job doesn't really change. It's still an enterprise level network. The software you install might change, or the tools that you use might change, but it's still an enterprise level network. So I would say, try to convince people that, despite the fact that that's not a negative thing, that you're only working in an education environment, it's still an enterprise level network, and you can still do enterprise level support anywhere.
Yes, definitely. I believe you also mentioned tools that you can actually use to this effect. You mentioned VMware.
Oh yes, VMware Workstation now is a now free tool. I know there's also a couple other ones. Forgive me, I don't remember the names of them off the top of my head, but it's something that you can run within Windows or Linux, that allows you to free up or spin up, excuse me, a virtual server, whether it be Linux, whether it be Mac, whether it be any other form of OS that you're looking for, and test that OS. You can actually even create an entire, you can create a network within a network right on your own PC, and break things and put things back together. That was one of the key things to my career. I started out building, my own little home lab, from a switch, or actually it wasn't even a switch, it was a hub before they had switches, a 4-port hub. It doesn't take much, and there are tools like VMware Workstation that are now made available. It used to be pretty expensive, and now it's free, where you can, like I said, you could spin up any operating system and learn from it. There's also other tools like Proxmox, or there's a lot of free and open source tools out there that don't cost anything to run, and you can run them on the lowest of hardware. You can get a Raspberry Pi, single board computer that has a huge community around it, and the board only costs, I think, $25-$35. And you can do a lot. In fact, if you're in the education space, you can even get them free. There's a lot you can do with a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then I just want to also add that perception matters, especially in organizations like this. And something you can actually do is probably package your set of skills, because your skills don't evidently change, but they might feel they need something different, but that it is the same set of skills that they need. So definitely just repackage your experience, probably your CV, repackage it to look more enterprise ready, and then we submit. And probably when you're having conversations in organizations like this, speak in ways that seem enterprise-like. And those are little things that help when you are applying to probably organizations you feel and don't tailor exactly to probably skills that you are qualified to, but as a person that you are qualified. So just tweak your CV a bit or tweak conversation you have a bit, and definitely you see you get those jobs. So I'll be going next to questions directed to Danielle. Let me pull this up. It says, just get this up. For those who don't have access to mentors, how can they attract or approach the right people?
So that's a good question, and one that I know all too well because I am notorious for reaching out to people on LinkedIn that I don't know. even even when I was an investigator, I was having trouble getting a job in as an investigator. Well, no, I was going from 911 dispatcher to investigator, and my resume wasn't hitting right. So I literally reached out to a random woman who I saw that she was a staff manager with the state of California, right? So I reached out to her and I let her know, hey, my name is Danielle Robinson. I'm currently a 911 dispatcher and I've been applying to state positions, but I haven't been successful in getting an interview. Is it possible that you can give me any type of feedback that would be able to assist me on my journey? And that lady actually sent me her entire statement of qualifications, because back then you just didn't need a resume. And I think it's that way to this day. They wanted to see how you write. So she sent me her statement of qualifications that actually landed her the manager role. And then I did that again when I was looking to go from an investigator into cybersecurity. I literally reached out to an older gentleman and said, hey, I'm interested in cybersecurity. I'm new to the field. Can you give me any advice to assist me on my journey? He is actually a CCIE network engineer he was with Cisco at the time. He took me under his wing and actually took me to the Cisco lab to their network, it was like a whole network infrastructure system that he took me to. We met for coffee, and to this day, we still maintain a relationship, and that was back in 2018. So I shared that to say, reach out. It doesn't matter if they're white, black, yellow, blue, green. You have to be able to make network connections with anybody, not just sticking with a woman because you feel more comfortable, or a man because you feel more comfortable. Reach out to anybody and everybody, and sometimes people won't even respond to you. Heck, even at my level, I will reach out and say, hey, do you want to be an instructor on the platform? I'll get no response. Okay, move on to the next. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to be open, and somebody will assist you on your journey. And then if all else fails, like I said, I'm all for the free options, but QRIQ, that's what I built it for. When a lot of times we don't have other people to talk to in the industry, right? And I feel like it's important to have that communication, to be able to articulate when you go on jobs, to say, I stood up this virtual machine, I made it talk by doing X, Y, and Z. But if you don't have anyone to talk to to speak to those things about, sometimes it's hard to go into the interview and articulate what you've done. So QRIQ, again, get a mentor. You can, if you can't find someone in the industry for free, you can always pay for being on the platform and speaking to many industry professionals about it on a daily almost.
All right, thank you so much, Danielle. And I just want to say, hold on, let me put this up. Definitely on LinkedIn here, it's so easy to, connect with people, and definitely sure if you reach out to a couple of number of individuals, you get someone. You definitely get someone. I don't believe, you won't. After all is said and done, you connected to hundreds of individuals, you won't at least get one person. So I know for sure that here on LinkedIn, people are always looking out to people they can impact. People are always looking for conversations to have. There are forums here and there. There are, sessions like this where you can connect and all that. So just put yourself out there and definitely get someone. We have a couple of questions, but I'll only be able to take two because we're way past um, um, close of this session. So I'll be taking one directly to Joseph, and then we'll take one from the chat box. It says for beginners. One second. Stop. One moment. Okay. For beginners who feel they have no network, I believe this has been answered. And what are the smartest first steps to start building meaningful network, meaningful connections? For beginners who feel they have no network, and what are the smartest first steps to start building meaningful connections? I believe this was asked because you mentioned having a probably having a circle that you can interact with and learn from. I believe this question is stemmed from that. I think you're muted.
Yep. Sorry. Reach out to anybody and everybody. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The only question that's wrong is the one that you don't ask. And don't be afraid to admit what you don't know. That's not a bad thing. Admitting that you don't know something, that's okay. And if you reach out to people and you're honest with them and say, hey, I really want to learn this, and is there anything that you could help me with, or coworkers or other people, they might have the same interests as you, they might have the same direction as you. Practice, build yourself a home lab out of whatever you can. I started building it up over years. My first computer was an old computer that somebody gave me because they got a new computer, and I helped them transition their files over to their new computer, and they happened to give me their old one. So I started out with that, and I used it to learn things like Windows NT and Windows Server way back in the day, NT 4.0. And practice. The more experience, the more you get your hands on things, and there's a lot of free resources out there as well. I believe both AWS and Azure both have accounts where they will give you a certain amount of cloud compute or cloud storage for free, where you can go out and test things. And if you break it, you break it. It's not going to hurt anything. You press delete and you start over again. I've actually tried to break things on purpose just to see what happens. And to be able to know what's going to happen if I do this, and this instead of doing this, and this. So that you can learn. Practice. That's the biggest thing I can say is experiment.
Yeah, I'll say same thing there. Practice is the word, and then experimenting. A couple of questions I believe they have been attended to by Katz and Joseph. Thank you so much for that. Right before we close the session, we'll be making just two announcements. First of all, we're going to be announcing our platform that is also coming up very soon. It's one that will be one tailored specifically for IT support individuals, and because we realize that platforms out there that individuals don't necessarily are able to make money from as IT support individuals. We have platforms like Upwork. You have to actually get gigs. You have to actually get jobs for once we're trying to build something here that having engaged on the platform, you get, having engaged, having done a couple of activities. I mean, you can, at the end of the day, get points and also, get points that are converted to cash. So that's one of the major announcements we are making on this call today. Finally, I want to appreciate all my speakers. This was an amazing session. Okay, just 1 second. Let me pick this up. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for an amazing session to all my speakers, Katz, Joseph, Emmanuel, and Danielle. We learned so much. I have a ton of questions on my end, and I can't ask every single one of them. I'll definitely reach out to you individually. I mean, there's so much engagement where I can ask for the questions. So my apologies to everyone asking them, and then I'll definitely reach out to all the speakers individually. And yes, some individuals asked for LinkedIn profiles to be shared. So definitely, I believe we can do that in the community. Yes. Yeah, so we'll be sharing the profiles also in the community, so you can go ahead and connect to them from there. And finally, we have something for our support individuals in Lagos. It's our IT support mixer. It's coming up on the 20th of December, and the registration form will be out soon. It's quite limited, so do your best to register and come and be part of that engagement. We're going to be discussing lots, and then we're going to be preparing for an amazing 2026 as IT support enthusiasts. So a big thank you once again to everyone that joined us on this call. As you know, it's always an amazing time here at Torres Tech, and we bring you the best of the best on the platform. So thank you once again, everyone. It was a good one. And we'll see you again next time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day and have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you, Joseph. Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.